What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Heavyweight Nation podcast. And today we have a very special guest, 2023 All-American from Oregon State, Trey Munoz. Welcome on the show, man. How you doing today, Trey?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man.
Dan, good to hear, man. And first off, congratulations to you, able to capture yourself a spot on the podium this year. So just kind of touch on that a little bit and how special that was for you to get on the podium this year, man.
Yeah, man. It was really special because last year I was around 12er and it was a heartbreaker for me. I just felt like I beat myself before I went out there, and it just left a sour taste in my mouth throughout the whole year. And it was it just put more fire fuel to the fire. So I'm honestly thankful for it. Just because I don't think I would have done as well as I would have this year if I didn't do that last year. So um yeah, I'm just super thankful for that. And it was just special for me this year. And losing to Coleman in the round of 12 last year and beating him in the quarterfinals to All-American this year just made it all that more sweet. So
Gotta
yeah.
love a little bit of a revenge story, man. It's
Yeah.
awesome,
Oh
good to
yeah.
hear, and you know, obviously great performance this year at nationals, but it had to start somewhere. So talk a
Right.
little bit about where your career began and who got you into the sport and all that kind of stuff.
Right. I mean, originally I wasn't even that interested in wrestling. I started pretty late. I started in eighth grade. Even though my dad was a national champion, two-time All-American, so he was a big reason why I got into the sport. And I feel like I just wanted to spend more time with my dad. And yeah, that's the whole reason why I got into the sport. And soccer and baseball weren't just weren't cutting it for me. And I just like the individuality of the sport, and it's just you walking out into the mat. It's not anybody else. And all the preparation that you put into the sport. That's how much you're gonna get out of it. So I
Yeah,
really
man,
enjoy the sport.
crazy. That's crazy to hear that. You
Yeah,
started in eighth grade. That's super late for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
yeah,
So talk a little bit about what your high school career was like, where you went to school, and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah. I went to a school called Chabrico Hills in Southern California. It's not a very big wrestling school. I was the first state champion out of my whole school district,
Wow.
so wrestling's not a very big sport in my area, but it's growing for sure. And I mean, just like I said, I started late, so I wasn't very good freshman, sophomore year, but something just clicked after my sophomore year. I made it to the state championship, but I never placed. I lost to Jaden Abbas in the quarterfinals, I think is what it was, and then lost in the round before blood round at state. And then my junior year, something just clicked for me over the summer. I All-American at Fargo, and then I took second at state, and then the next year I ended up winning it, going
Wow.
undefeated 60-0. So
Wow.
I ended up going on, and then
Hold on,
all
wait. Did you say 60, like 60 and 0?
yeah, 60
You
and 0 my
wrestled
senior year.
you wrestled 60 matches your senior
Yeah,
year?
yeah,
I
That's
don't think people
crazy.
realize that that is crazy stats. 60 matches in one. Did you wrestle like 5 days a week?
no, I think we just had a lot of we just had a lot.
Tournaments?
I mean, California's just so dense, and there's just so many schools in one area, so you could just get so many matches in a short amount of time. So
It's crazy. 60 matches a year in one
yeah,
season. I think that might be the most I've ever heard. Like we'll have to
Yeah.
find that out if somebody else has ever wrestled more than 60. I doubt it. I really do, because that's crazy, 60 matches.
yeah.
But, you know, so we like to ask this to everybody because we talk to so many people from so many different parts of the United States. Where do you think California wrestling ranks amongst the other states?
I think California has its days. I think
It's a top five for me for sure.
yeah,
Top
for
five.
sure, for sure. Especially because it's the one division. I think it might be even. It is top five for sure, but I think it's hard to compete with Pennsylvania and New Jersey and all the
That's
East
us.
Coast.
That's both of us.
Yeah,
He's from Jersey. I'm from PA. So we
yeah, but I think it definitely has to be top five.
and it's not five. It's
It's
definitely
not five. It's
definitely
not
three
five
or
for sure.
four, I think, 100%. Because like
Yeah,
you said, such a big state. Like a lot of
yeah,
people talk about Jersey has one division. and that's like Jersey's big thing. But if you look at the size of New Jersey, you can fit about 4 New Jerseys in California.
That's right.
Probably more.
Probably more than 4.
But
So
Jersey's densely populated. We
yeah, you
got a
got
lot of people in a small
wrestlers,
state.
a lot of wrestlers
Yeah.
too.
For sure.
Yeah, but we see some studs come out of California as of late too. There's definitely some dogs that are coming out of California, man. But so obviously you did not start your career at Oregon State, where you were able to, have a team, be able to get on the team there and All-American this year. So you started at Arizona State.
Right.
So talk a little bit about your recruitment and what kind of pulled you towards Arizona State, and then obviously you kind of backtracked a little bit and decided to go to Oregon State.
Yeah, I originally my dad went to Oklahoma State, my mom went to Oklahoma State, so I was born in Stillwater, so I was a cowboy my whole life, you know. John Smith, I was crawling around the wrestling room when I was a baby, so I've known him my whole life, and I originally thought that was where I was going to go, and I was about to commit there, and then I went on my recruiting trips, and Coach Pendleton, he was at Arizona State at the time, and Jamil Kelly, they were both at Oklahoma State when I was a baby. So I've had that connection with them for a long time, and that's ultimately what led me to Arizona State. Is I would grow in all areas of my life, academics, wrestling, social, spiritual, all that kind of stuff. So that's ultimately what led me to Arizona State, and All-American, I think 2-time All-American Josh Shields had me on a call, and he kind of convinced me because I was going to commit to Oklahoma State, like I've been saying, but he called me. He was like, "Hey, if you want to grow in your relationship with God, then you need to come to Arizona State." So I was like, "Okay, let's go." So I just committed, and I stayed for the first 2 years, and just didn't end up working out for me. It just wasn't the right fit, so I ended up transferring to Oregon State, and I think it's just a much better fit for me. And Coach Pendleton is here now, and we have that, like I've been saying, we have that long-term connection. So it's been really cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously you kind of struck gold at Oregon State. You kind of got it figured out, like you said, from going around a 12 guy to this year being able to be an All-American. So they must be doing something right at Oregon State, huh?
Right.
No doubt.
So talk a little bit about the tournament, man. You come in off of a big Pac-12 championship, so congratulations for that as well. A super tough conference. I think a lot of people don't really think about the Pac-12. They usually think, Big Ten and ACC and all that stuff. But talk a little bit about your time at the Big 12, and obviously you get yourself a good spot for nationals.
Right. I mean, Pac-12s, it's a small tournament. We only have 6 schools in the Pac-12s, but it's tough. It's a lot of people don't understand like how tough it is. Like Arizona State, Stanford, they have some scrappy guys, and so you can't just overlook the Pac-12 for sure. But first round I had Stanford, and then I had Montalvo, I think All-American in 2021. So definitely tough competition for me, but ended up pulling that one out, and yeah, I mean, going into NCAA's, I had a great path. If I had a chance to win it, that was the way I wanted to do it. First round I had pretty tough match, 2-1. Not expecting it to be that tough. Everybody in the first round is a national champ. So he wrestled me tough. Ended up pulling it out 2-1. Not how I want to win a match, but that's how it goes sometimes. And second match I was supposed to have Pinto, if the seeds held, and that was my only loss at Vegas this year. So I was looking forward to that rematch, and but he ended up losing in the first round too. So I ended up wrestling a Neil Antrazian from Virginia. Also pretty tough. I wrestled him before he transferred to Virginia when he was at Penn. Ended up pulling that one out too. I think it was 6-2. And then quarters, I've been looking forward to that one. I wrestled him early on in the year, but I mean this is the one that counts. So, got to prepare the same way that I prepared for him before, and He wrestled me tough. And going into overtime, Coach Pendleton goes, shoot to his right leg, shoot to his right leg. But I've been shooting to his lead leg the whole time. And so I'm like, okay. So I kind of just set it up, get to that single leg. That was basically the only real attack that I got to the whole match and ended up scoring in overtime. And it was pretty sweet. I'm pointing to my parents in the crowd. And yeah, it was something I'll never forget. And the semifinals, it's definitely not the way you want to go out getting hurt like that. But, I'd rather be hurting an All-American than hurting a non-All-American, you know what I mean? So,
valid statement there, man. Valid statement there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely not the way you want to go out, but it's part of the sport and you got to accept that. So.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about what happened. I know, there were a lot of people were kind of, we saw that you got injured. So talk a little bit about that injury and, how do you think that's going to affect, the future, the summer of wrestling for you?
Right. I mean, he got it on the leg, put it on the outside, went for a double leg, just landed on it weird. And it's really just part of the sport. You can't be mad at him for it. He didn't really do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. It's just the way it happened to happen. So I tore my MCL. So I'll be out for but I mean again, if that's the injury that I get, it's probably the best injury that you can get in your knee. Just because an MCL is like a rubber band and it just goes straight back. And so it's really not too bad of an injury for me. I've just been out, just been resting, and I think I'll be back in a couple weeks for my knee, but I had to get surgery on my hand. So I'm out for another 3 months. So yeah, I know. I'm out long term for the summer, but
yeah, so no freestyle Greco for you, no Freco this off season for you.
But no, it'll be a blessing though, just because I get to focus on folk style for this upcoming season, and then I'm only 21 years old, so I got 2 years left for my eligibility for U23, so I can go back the year after this.
Yeah, definitely, man. Because obviously, like you said, you're a 2-time Fargo All-American. What style is your preference? Are you a Greco or a freestyle guy?
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking my high school self, I would say folk style for sure, but now I would definitely say freestyle. Yeah, I hated freestyle. I've never wrestled Greco. The only time I've wrestled Greco was when I was at Arizona State, and COVID just hit, and we were kind of unsure what was going to happen with our eligibilities and stuff like that. So I went to the U.S. Open to get an Olympic red shirt, and I wrestled Greco because there's only 9 guys in the bracket. You had to place top 8 at the U.S. Open. So I wrestled Greco. I won my first match.
So you placed top 8. You won your first match.
I won my first. It was completely bizarre because I got Zach Bronigal, who was a returning junior world team member for Greco. So I was like, oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna pull this one out, but I ended up beating him 5-4. So I was like, wow, I could. I was like, I could.
So you were good at Greco, is what we're hearing, because a world team member, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I got an arm spin and a push out, and then I stalled my butt off for the rest of the match. But and then I won my second match too, and then I was supposed to wrestle. I made to the semis. And I was supposed to wrestle sorry, my light's flashing. But I was supposed to wrestle who's that guy? He's from Cuba, the Greco guy, super tall, skinny, 87 kilos.
Mm-hmm. I can't think of his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. But he's like known for just powerballing people, and I was like, this is my first time wrestling Greco. Like I don't want to.
I'm not trying to get powerbombed. I'm not
yeah. So I dropped out of the match or the tournament after that, just taking 6th, and then. But we ended up getting our year back, so I didn't.
You didn't have to do it anyway.
Yeah, but it was a good experience,
Sound like you were pretty good at it, though.
Yeah.
I got a good gut wrench, and that's just about it. So.
Yeah, that might be all you need, man. So.
That's right.
Obviously, a bright future for you, man. Like you said, you're
Yeah.
still pretty young. You got a lot of skin left in the game. You got 2 years of eligibility left, for U23s, and we'll see you back again next season to wrestle folk style, and that'll be exciting as well. And Oregon State, man, let me tell you, they've been able to kind of boost themselves up in the rankings lately. Over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I know, the last few nationals, there's been guys that have kind of busted up the bracket a little bit and have.
Right.
And have really showed Oregon State's not just there to play around.
Right. You know, uh, going into last year, we didn't expect to have 4 All-Americans. We had a couple guys seeded 11th, and I think 3 of them All-American. So I mean, it's yeah, man, um, we're tough, man. Like I've been saying, you can't count out the Pac-12s. We had a couple guys in the quarterfinals this year. Daniel Cardenas, freshman from Stanford. I think last year at NCAA's, Pac-12 had like the highest conversion rate for qualifiers to All-Americans. So
Shout out to the Pac-12, man.
Yeah, Pac-12's
Pac-12's on
tough,
the up.
man.
Pac-12's
No
on the
joke.
up.
we're tough.
Pac-12 is no joke, man. But
Yeah.
so I'm gonna throw the mic over to Matthew here, and I'm gonna let him kind of introduce the Q&A section, and we're gonna ask you some wrestling questions, some non-wrestling questions, and I'll let him kind of take away and go for it.
Right.
So, during the season, what's a day in the life for you?
Yeah. So wake up in the morning. We get free breakfast during the weekdays here.
That's nice.
So wake up in the morning, get some breakfast. It's a little buffet style. So there's a whole bunch of different types of food. We got eggs, we got rice, there's a little omelet station you can make omelets at, and a little smoothie bar. So I mean, we're totally blessed to have that in the mornings, just because I feel like a lot of athletes don't get that breakfast.
Yeah.
So, and then we usually have lift in the morning. So during the season, it's not too much. We usually just maintain. But I'm pretty light, so I just lift heavy, just throughout the whole season. So, yeah, we have lift in the morning, and then you usually have class between lift and practice. So I usually have some kind of class during 12 to 2, and then just go to practice. And Coach Pendleton, he usually likes to run the practice. So we meet before practice. He usually gives us a little speech, and go into practice. Usually play a little sports game before handball, maybe some spike ball before handball, something like that to get warm. And then we just head into practice. And then afterwards, me and a couple guys on the team, we go to Bible study on Mondays and Tuesdays. And then it's just homework, and then going to bed and rinse and repeat.
Nice, man. Yeah, it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And I know you said you wrestled Pinto before and you wanted that match back.
Right.
So I'm sure you wrestled a lot of just studs. Who was your toughest opponent
This year?
any year? Just like the worst style matchup for you. It doesn't have to be like the best guy you wrestled, but the toughest opponent for you, like the person you were just like, I don't really want to wrestle him again.
For sure. I would say my biggest rival in my whole college career is Bernie Truax. He was up in the series against me. I think it was 4-0. He wrestled me 4 times, 2 at 174, and then 2 at 184 before I wrestled him in the Pac-12s last year at 184, and then I ended up beating him. I ended up catching him in a little throw, pinning him in the Pac-12 finals, putting us in position to win Pac-12s last year.
Nice.
Mean dude to pin.
What?
It's a mean dude to pin.
I know.
Yeah, he's super talented. Yeah,
he's funky, super long. I'm a single leg guy, and he's just super long, can do the splits, flexible. So it's like I really got to put his foot like 2 feet over my head if I want to finish single leg on him. So it's yeah, I would say he's the toughest matchup for me for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where he lands. I think he has some big potential at 197, and Apparently, the word is he might be a Nittany Lion. I don't know how true that is, but
Yeah,
that's the
I still got my fingers crossed. I put in my 2 cents with him, but
yeah. I think
yeah, I think I
he
Hot
think
could.
take. He's running from the Pac-12. He's running
Yeah,
from
he's
the
running. I mean, he did go up to 97 though too. So
that's right. That's right.
he's moving weight classes around, man.
Yeah.
You might have to chase him at 97 next season. Just go. That might be a big jump for you. You look like
Oh yeah, for sure.
you're kind
For
of
sure.
you're fitting in good right at 84. I don't think.
Yeah.
So what's your weight cut like? Is there even a weight cut, or do you kind of just walk around within like 5 pounds?
I mean, last summer I was like 205, so I was a chunky 205. So,
Mm.
but I mean, during season I walk around at 191,
Oh yeah.
192
So
maybe. So it's really not that bad. I'm kind of in the sweet spot when it comes to cutting weight. So I really only have to I get to wear shorts and a shirt during practice, and when it comes 2 days before, I'll just throw on some pair of sweats and then I'll be good for my weight. So it's really not too bad.
that's
Yeah,
gotta be
you
that's gotta
can
be
go
nice.
out. You can eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
can eat
see
a
these
little, not
guys.
too
You
much.
see these guys getting crazy over there, eating a little something. They're like,
Yeah,
God.
I
Yeah.
know.
Some people they might be
I
a
try
little
not
jealous of you during the season being able to eat a little bit.
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. I try not to eat in front of them, but it is what it is.
Definitely, man,
No,
definitely. But you know,
we are a heavyweight nation. We got to
That's
get into
right.
some food questions here. But
That's right.
like, what's the best food around like your school, around Oregon State?
If there's one thing I could change about Corvallis, it's that we need more restaurants because there's no there's not a lot of variety here. Everything usually closes at 8 o'clock.
Mm.
Uh,
8 o'clock.
yeah, man. It's Corvallis is it's a small town, you know. Um, outside of the college population, I would say it's majority just retired old people that just like gardening. So most everything closes at 8 o'clock. So you got to get your meals in if you want to go
Oof.
out. You got to get your meals in before I don't know 7 o'clock, 7:30. Um, but I mean, there's some good burgers around town. Um, there's not really much else you can get.
So what,
So
you usually just like eat at home or cook something or
yeah, I usually just cook something, or I mean, we got I mean Bible study. We got food there, but usually it's just meal prep on Sundays, and
And crush the meal prep during the week.
yeah, and then if I don't have anything, then it's pasta for sure.
I was gonna say, so what's the go-to cheat meal? You don't gotta worry about stepping on the scale. I mean, of course, you're getting some surgeries done, so
Right.
you're out for 3 months without competing. What's the cheat meal? What's your go-to?
Oh man, I love grilling. So it's I can make a mean chicken thigh. Um, so I love just chicken thighs, just potatoes and some broccoli. I mean, it's not that unhealthy, but I mean, I'll just freaking
Is that something you
I
could eat
can
like a
eat it
lot
all
of?
day. Yeah,
Yeah. All right,
yeah,
we get that. We get that. And
for sure.
what's the go-to pasta shape? Some people think they taste different. So what's the go-to pasta shape?
Oh gosh, man, I feel like I mean, obviously the classic spaghetti, you could just put it with any sauce, but um, I just love the bow tie pasta. Yeah, I mean, you
I
can't.
Bow
was
ties
gonna
do
say, give
slap.
me the bow ties.
That's a slept on pasta shape for sure.
Oh yeah.
I agree
Yeah,
100%.
Bow ties are good, man.
yeah, man.
So not a lot of places to eat. So does that mean not a lot of dessert options in
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, the most popular place I feel like we got is Crumble. You know, we had our heavyweight last year, Gary Traub.
Yeah, oh,
He
we
would get
love
it
Gas Tank
every.
Gary here at Heavyweight
Oh yeah,
Nation.
gas tank Gary, man, he's a man. But he would get Crumble all the time, man. So
Because
it's
he's a pretty small heavyweight. He's not
yeah.
a yeah, he's not a huge heavyweight, so he's not cutting weight at all.
Oh no, not
Yeah,
at all.
so he's t-shirt and shorts at practice smiling while
Yeah,
everybody's in
for sure.
hoodie and sweatpants with
Freaking,
the socks tucked in.
he's got a bag of Cheetos on standby after.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
drinking a 32-ounce Gatorade and a bag of Cheetos after
yeah, for
practice. It's
sure,
like,
for
see you guys
sure.
later. And
Yeah,
he's got 6 crumble cookies in the passenger seat of his car. He's
yeah, man.
yeah,
But
He's ready.
Gary's a good dude, but
Yeah.
So do you get have you had the crumble cookies then? What's the
Yeah,
best
I'm
cookie
not
you've
a
had?
I'm not a big crumble cookie guy, but I mean it's a staple here for sure. So I'll have it once in a while, but it's not a big hit for me.
What's the
What's the
best cookie
go-to
you've
dessert?
had?
Oh man, if I would rule crumble out. I'm just not a big crumble
Okay.
guy, but
All
I
right,
would
so no
have to
crumble.
say um this might be a hot take, but I kind of like the oatmeal raisin cookies.
Okay.
I'm
They're not bad, but they're
They're
not
yeah,
my
they're
not
not
first
bad.
choice.
Yeah,
Man,
but
I feel like you're just such a healthy dude. You're talking about like, your cheat meal is just grilled chicken and
no,
potatoes, and your favorite cookie's oatmeal raisin. Like that's got to be the lowest caloric cookie that you could get,
yeah.
like for sure.
I mean, also I'm a big I love the Girl Scout cookie, the
Mm,
Samoas.
those are good.
Those hit for me too.
Yeah,
I can
we've been
slap a
hearing
whole.
we've had a lot of people say that like their go-to is like got like gummy candy. We've been getting a lot of that
Yeah,
lately. That's like the wrestler's cheat is gummy candy.
yeah.
But I guess to
I'll
each
go there sometimes too. You know,
little candy
it all just depends
sometimes.
on it all just depends on how I'm feeling that day.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, man. So another good one we ask is, what is your favorite wrestling shoe? Obviously, your career was a little shorter, and you kind of missed some of the hype shoes
Right,
in the earlier youth wrestling years.
right.
But what was your favorite wrestling shoe you've ever worn?
Yeah. I would have to say they're Asics, the International Lights.
Mhm.
Those are my
They're
favorite
so
shoes for
fire.
sure.
They're
Yeah.
so clean. They're
Yeah.
so clean. Yeah.
They look good, they feel good. I like the high ankle.
So do
So
I. I'm a big high
yeah.
ankle shoe guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and they were just super comfortable. They lasted pretty long. So I would say the International Lights for sure.
All right.
Definitely. All right, let's see. Favorite walkout song.
That's a good one.
We've been asking that.
That's a good one. That's a good
Um
one too.
I got a couple. Um I I feel like the funniest one I would say was it's it's by Pink. Um I'm forgetting the name of the song, but it goes no 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 no
Oh
no.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
that was
Uh,
fun.
That's a good one.
we've
You know,
Yeah,
heard
I'm
a
a,
lot of good ones. Jacob Warner
yeah.
from Iowa walks out to Fat Bottom Girls and by Queen. And
Yeah.
I don't think anybody could top that, man. That's just
Yeah.
and when he made it to the national finals, ESPN told him that he was not allowed to walk out to Fat Bottom Girls
Dang.
because it was inappropriate.
Oh
And
no.
he might think a little superstitious that that's why he lost, but
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is. You didn't get to hear Fat Bottom Girls walking out, but yeah, man, I think there's some cool ones. We really need to see like a Barbie girl walk out at nationals,
For
like
sure,
just
man.
like some out of pocket music. Just
I got Disturbia by Rihanna. That was my
That's
walkout
good too.
song.
That was good too. My dad wants me to do his old walkout song. It's Tell Me When to Go, E40.
mm,
Good one
yeah,
too.
yeah,
I like that
yeah.
one.
Mine was I walked out to Loud and Heavy. That was my I
Nice.
walked out Loud and Heavy, and I walked out to the Big Show's theme song a couple
No,
times.
that's pretty
Nice.
accurate for you,
Yeah,
man.
you're Loud and
Loud and
Heavy.
heavy.
You about
Yeah,
right. You about
that's
right.
good.
Yeah, the Big Show's theme song, that was a hit in high school.
Nice.
Whenever we had like home dual meets, that's what I'd walk out to was the Big Show theme song. And it was always so fun because I would never run out. I would just walk. Like the slowest, just like
Yeah, that sounds fitting
strut,
too.
like model strutting out to the middle of the mat. And I'd be
It's a big model.
settle down.
I
Settle
know.
down.
I feel like you got to walk out if it's loud and heavy. You can't run out there.
Oh yeah, no.
Gotta walk.
Yeah, no. But it's a little different, I guess, for you smaller guys. A little different than us big boys.
Yeah.
We got to take our time. We can't get too tired from the run out to getting to the back because you got to wrestle right after.
I used to do a backflip.
Now that's
Oh
out of
wow.
pocket. You one wrong ankle sprain, and you're
So
Yeah.
when we'd run out as a team, we'd run out, I'd do a backflip, and then we'd run around the mat.
wow,
Okay.
you're just so cool, man. So cool. But some good questions, man. Some good questions. Some good answers. What's like a pre-match hype song? Like what's in your headphones when you're warming up for a big match?
Yeah. I feel like it depends on the match, you know. Um I usually like more calm music. I don't like to get myself too hyped up because then I feel
Smooth
like I'll just
jazz.
be yeah, almost.
You
I feel
throwing
like
some Christian tunes in the ears, man. Let me tell you,
yeah,
some of that
Those
Christian music
hit.
goes hard though.
for real,
It can get you going. Like
for real.
there's some Christian music out there that I got put on in the car and I'm like, whoa, I could run through a brick wall right now.
Yeah,
Like
hey, when I get the aux for practice, I won't even say anything. I'll just throw on the Christian rap and everybody likes it. It just nobody knows. It's good
yeah,
vibes, you know.
yeah. It's always a good staple, like in the college dressing room, because a lot of college coaches don't want to hear cursing, like
Oh,
in
for
the
Yeah.
sure,
music. So you throw
for
that
sure.
on, and usually most of the time you're pretty good. I'd hope that
Yeah,
the Christian radio stations don't go too crazy, but
yeah.
no, definitely, man, 100%. That's a good answer. Good answer. Trying to stay calm. I feel like a lot of people kind of overhype themselves up.
Right.
For sure, man.
Yeah, I'll either go 10, like the screamo, or just give me some Katy Perry and I'm good to go.
Yeah, for sure.
This is a really good question. Now I like this one.
Yeah.
Who do you think wins in a wrestling match? Your dad in his prime or you in your prime?
You know, if
He
you
sat up for this one.
yeah, if you
Because obviously there has been some evolution to the sport of wrestling. So
Wrestling
right,
changed.
right. I'm gonna have to say me.
really, you think him in his prime? You think you get him?
I think I could get him in his prime just because stylistically he
Hmm.
was like a single leg guy. I'm a single leg guy, so we would kind of butt heads. I feel like.
Hmm. But then you
Um,
low key, you say you're not that good at Greco, but like low key, you
yeah,
hit him with the
I hit him with
quick
a quick
throw.
little
Yeah,
throw, catch him on his back, you know.
yeah.
But you know, everybody tells me that I mean he has like the best level changes they'd ever seen. So you know maybe it'd be a close one, but I think I'd still pull it out.
Bust out the mat. Let's
Plus,
go.
yeah.
See it happen.
Have you guys gone at it, or have you guys had the opportunity to scrap
Oh,
a little bit?
for sure, for sure. He's um we during COVID. I mean when we got back, he was my only wrestling partner, so we had a mat in the garage. So I mean, just during the day, I'd ask him, "Hey, like, do you want to drill?" And then it's like slowly evolve into a spar and then a live wrestle. So
Then a live match, and
yeah, so I mean, it like I give him 2 minutes. He keeps up with me, and then he just gets tired, and then I just
well,
lay it
he's
on.
been out of the sport for a long time, man. But I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
and what was that kind of like as a kid? Obviously your career started super late
right,
than a lot of guys who had national championship dads. If you think about like the
But you were
Mondays,
always
who
around
obviously
it.
was your dad's teammate at Oklahoma State,
right,
like stuff like that. So what was that like having him, kind of succeed in so well in the sport of wrestling?
right. You know, I feel like my parents didn't really force me into anything, so they just
Which is very number one, I think is very rare. I think a
yeah,
lot of guys who wrestle at the level your dad didn't had so much success. I feel like
yeah,
everybody immediately is like, oh, he's gonna have a son, and that son's gonna now go and he's gonna win
right,
nationals.
right. Yeah, but I'm super thankful for that, and I think a lot of kids get burnt out because their dads force
100%.
them to do all these things, and it just isn't good for them. And so I'm just super thankful for that. And I've been around wrestling my whole life. My dad was a coach at Oklahoma State for a little bit when I was there, and he was a coach at UC Davis before they cut the program. He coached the national champion Derek Moore, who's the head coach at CBU now. And you know, I've been around it. I just never really got into it that much. Um, but you know, always at the local tournaments, you could only walk 2 steps with him because then there'd be somebody asking him like, "Oh, can I take a picture with you?" and stuff like that. So you always had to walk by yourself. You'd just leave him behind, and that I mean, that's the only downside about having my dad as a dad is, I mean, people just come up to him all the time, and he's too nice. He won't say no, and he'll just act like he knows you and stuff like that. So.
I'm sure, especially if you guys take a trip to Stillwater,
Oh,
I'm sure he's a hot commodity still to
for
this
sure.
day out in
I
Oklahoma.
mean, even at nationals in Tulsa, there was people that he's known since college, and I mean, you're stopping every 30 seconds to say hi to a bunch of the head coaches. I mean, even a lot of the head coaches now are from Oklahoma State, like
Hmm.
Coleman Scott, Jamil Kelly, both UNC. Pat Papalizio was my dad's roommate in college. Pendleton. I mean, a ton of guys went to Oklahoma State and are on the coaching scene now. So my dad's got all those connections.
Definitely,
Yeah,
man. Definitely.
that's crazy. And you know, growing up watching wrestling, pretty
Right.
much like your dad being that staple. I'm curious to see if your dad is in your top three favorite wrestlers of all time.
um, I there was an incident in Oklahoma State where like their film like there's like a fire in their film room, so they lost a lot of their film from their matches. So there isn't a lot of matches that I can watch from my dad. There's only a couple online that I can actually find. So I haven't been able to actually see like my dad wrestle. Um, so I mean, I feel like I just don't have enough information, to say like my dad is in my top three. But I mean, he's my dad, so it might be a little bit biased. But yeah, I don't know. One of my favorites is Takudo Otoguro from Japan. He's one of my favorites to watch. Um, David Taylor is up there. Um, and then I like to watch Yazdani too, just because the Underhook series. I just like picking it apart, and yeah, it's one of my favorites to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And if you could make a super match with anyone in the history of wrestling, no matter what weight, who would you wrestle?
I mean, there's this debate about who's the GOAT now, Jordan Burroughs and John Smith. I'd like to see that matchup just to see just to settle it. It's like a Michael
Yeah.
Jordan, LeBron James debate.
I feel like it would be JB just because how the sport has evolved, man. Like John
Yeah, I
Smith,
agree.
no offense to John Smith. John Smith is an old head and he is a legend in the sport. But I
Right,
feel like it's almost like the Michael Jordan to LeBron James, where it's like the exchanging of the crown
right,
of being the best wrestler of all time. It's like
right.
JB's blast doubling John Smith out of his loafers right now. If we get them squared
Oh,
off,
for sure.
like JB might cause some permanent damage to John Smith that we don't
Yeah, but
want.
both of them in their prime, that'd be fun.
Yeah, but
But
like
wrestling still
I feel like
has evolved.
is JB in his prime right now? That's the question. When was prime JB? Would it be when he was 26, 22, 24? He's now 33. So you got to
He
think
still
like,
looks good though.
oh my, there's no one that looks better. Find me a 33-year-old guy that can keep up with Jordan Burroughs. I'll wait. Not a lot.
Yeah,
Not a lot, man. Not a lot. He's something else, man. And I wish every wrestler got the opportunity to have a career like that, where they're still wrestling at 33 and winning world and in Olympic titles and
sure.
stuff like that. Because it's crazy. It is, and
Yeah.
especially like growing up, you always heard you can't wrestle forever.
Right,
You can't. There's no money in wrestling. There's no this and no that. And now Jordan has been able to kind of flip that script a little bit. And
for sure.
so, what do you think? When you hang up the shoes, you leave them out on the mat. Your last college season. What do you think is the future for you? You want to fight? Do you want to use the degree you're getting? Do you want to wrestle? Do you want to coach? What do you think's out there for you the next step of life?
Yeah, everybody asked me because my dad was in the UFC too. Everybody asked me if I want to fight, but I mean, the answer is that's just hard no.
You don't want to
I'm
get punched in the
not a
face for
fighter.
money?
What?
I said you don't want to get punched in the face for money.
No, it's just not for me. But if I wanted to get on the coaching scene, I think I could. That's definitely a possibility. But I think I want to use my degrees. I'm getting 2 degrees in chemistry and education, and then I'm
Oh
getting a
wow.
master's.
Okay, the quick little chemistry degree. That's gonna be kind of challenging to balance that and wrestling, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a little tough, especially right now because it's not the kind of chemistry that I enjoy. So it's pretty tough right now. I'm especially through the season. It was tough, real
Yeah,
tough.
and I know with like teaching, you have to do like a certain amount of teaching hours at like schools and stuff, and like
Right.
balancing that with practice and wrestling and stuff, that's definitely hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. I think so is the plan, kind of to be a teacher? Is that your plan? You want to be a chemistry teacher?
Yeah,
And
that's the plan.
maybe a high school wrestling coach?
Maybe a high school wrestling coach. We'll see.
I think
We'll
that'd be
see.
exciting for you to be able to give back. I think that would be a good outlet for you. And you seem like you're a super nice guy. And I think, you have a lot of knowledge. And obviously, I'm sure your dad can help you a little bit with the coaching stuff.
for
I'm
sure.
sure.
If a kid fails the test, he has to join the team.
If kid fails the test, he gets single legged out of his shoes, man, out of his
Yeah.
shoes. But we've asked this question 160 odd times now, to guys from all across the United States, from every walk of life, from Olympic gold medalists to, high school wrestlers. So if you could take 3 of your Oregon State teammates with you into the zombie apocalypse, who would they be and why?
I mean, automatic. I got to take one of our heavyweights. His name is Chuck.
Okay, Chuck. All right.
Yeah, he's from Idaho. Uh, just super tough. He just knows what he's doing. He's got a couple shotguns in the back seat. It's you got to take Chuck for sure.
And worst comes to worst, you shoot Chuck in the knee and let the zombies after him. You got a quick way to get out of there.
I don't know. They'd be feeding on him for months at least.
Good to know. Good to know. Poor Chuck, man.
Nah, but and then I would have to take. I think I would take another kid. He's from out in the middle of nowhere in Montana. He's an engineer, so he's just super smart. Got the wilderness knowledge. His name is Crail Stormer. One of the most interesting names I've ever heard.
That's a cool name. That's a really tough name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think I would have to take his name is Jackson McKinney. He's another classic redneck kind of guy. Got the mullet, loves fishing, so he'd be able to get us the food, and I'd just be able to sit back and relax, let Chuck and Jackson handle all the light work, and then I'll just sit back, eat the fish that he catches.
I mean, you got to factor in if Chuck becomes a zombie, then you got to fight Chuck.
Yeah, you got to think about that too.
Dang.
I don't know if you watch, but I mean, like, are you? I mean, if Chuck gets zombified, I'm pretty sure you could still outrun zombie Chuck.
I think so too.
Yeah, like I don't think Chuck's catching up to you if you get to going.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, awesome, good team, man. You got a couple of wilderness explorers, some down home redneck boys. You might be all right.
Yeah,
you might be all right, man. But I mean, awesome to get to talk to you, man. Awesome, bright future ahead of you. Hopefully, your healing process goes well and everything, and we see you back and better than ever next season, man.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. It's been another episode of the Heavyweight Nation podcast. Thank you, everybody out there who's listening. We appreciate it. Have a good night.